Tanaf. Hi, Ellen.
Hi.
How are you?
Baruch Hashem. So what's the next Masechta? What's the next Masechta?
I don't know. 1 second. What are we now in?
Moed Katan.
Chagiga.
Yeah, Chagiga. Yeah. Okay.
I don't even remember what Chagiga is.
Chagiga. The holiday, Chagiga. The
Oh,
Chag.
yes.
Yeah.
Harold, good evening.
Hi, Mario.
What time they start the mincha tonight? It's 25 or 5:30?
5:20.
5:20?
Yeah.
That was last week. Every I thought every week they add on to it. No.
No, I was told 5:20.
Oh, okay. I figured they would, since every week it gets a little later. I figured they're going to have mincha a little later.
So, where is Ernie?
Good question.
I'm clogging some pipes. Oh, Harold left. Hello, Velvo.
Hello, Mario.
Was machst du?
Okay, fine. How are you?
Good.
What's going on?
Nothing, waiting for the Murad Asra.
Ernest.
Huh?
You're waiting for Ernest.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Oh, Ernie.
hi, Ernie.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
We're on 26, Chavav.
Yes.
Ton Rabbanon, Elu Korin She'ein Misachin. The following kriyas we don't sew up. Hakora Alavi, Valimo, if you share kriya for father or mother, Al Rabba Shalim the Torah, a Rebbe that taught him Torah, Val Nasi, the Nasi, Val Bezdin, Val Shmua Saros, bad news, we'll see what that is. Val Birkas Hashem, if you hear somebody cursing God's name, Val Sefer Torah Nisraf, a Torah that was burnt, Val Arei Yehuda, when you see the cities of Yehuda in Churbanon, Val Amigdash b'Churbano, Val Yushalayim b'Churbano, the Korea Amigdash Moisef Val Yushalayim. If you first taught Kriya, because you saw the Malkam Amigdash, when you then see Yushalayim, you tear Kriya again. Harold, we're on 26, near the top.
Good.
Avivim of Rabba Shalim the Terminola. Where is the source that you have to tear Kriya on the death of your father, mother, or your Rebbe? L'chsiv Elisha Roa. This is when Elisha sees Eliyahu Navi being taken up in a chariot to Shemayim. Umitzaik Avi Rechav Yisrael Farasham. He calls out Avi Rechav Yisrael Farasham. Avi ze Avi v'imo. Rechav Yisrael Farasham ze Rabba Shalim the Torah. Now my mashma. The Targum Rav Yosef, Rebbe, the Tavla only Yisrael, but Slusim and Turkinu Farashim. That the tefillas of G'dolei Yisrael are more valuable than chariots and horses. How do you know that you don't sew these kriyas up? T'chsiv. When Elisha tore kriya on the death of Eliyahu, when he was taken up to Shemayim, so it's clear that it means to tear it in two. It has to remain that way forever. Why did he tear kriya? Eliyahu went up alive to Shemayim. Since he never saw him again, for him it was like he was amazed. This is after the death of Shaul and Yehonasan in the battle of Plishtim. Those of us learning Shmuel Aleph, we will get to this soon. That David tore kriya. The gam kol anoshim asher ito vayispedu vayivku vayatsumu at ha'erev al Shaul val Yonasan beno v'alam Hashem al Beis Yisrael ki naflu b'charev. Shaul ze Nasi. Yonasan ze av Bezdin. Alam Hashem al Beis Yisrael elu shmo saros. That's the bad news that they lost. Klal Yisrael lost the war. Maybe you don't tear kriya until all of these happen. When it says al Shaul v'Yonasan v'alam Hashem, each al separates. Do we tear kriya on bad news? Shmuel Shvor Malka, the king of Persia, killed 12,000 Jews in Kesari. V'lo kara, and Shmuel heard about it and didn't tear kriya. So lo amru el barov tzibur. It's got to be a majority of Klal Yisrael, like what happened in Shaul's time. Now the Gemara even questions whether Shvor Malka actually killed Jews. Umi kotel Shvor Malka yudoi. Amarle Shvor Malka l'Shmuel Teisi, I should get a bracha to like Tala Yehudi me'olam. I never killed Jews. So the Gemara says, "Hosam inu garmi l'nafshay." The Jews cause it themselves. The Amar Reb Ami, l'kal yiser de mezigas kesari pokashur de ludkia. There was a rebellion going on in Caesarea against Shvor Malka, And the Jews there made a simcha when they revolted against Shmur Malta. And therefore he had no choice but to kill them. Al Birkas Hashem Nolan. How do we know that you tear Kriya for hearing the shame of Hashem being cursed? Yokim ben Chilki Asher Labayis. Shevna Soifer v'Yoch ben Asaf. Hamaski el Chizkiyo Kruei v'Godim. These people came to Chizkiah Melech having torn their clothes because they had heard one of the, in the end of Malachim, Yitzhak Hashem will get there, curse Hashem. Whether you heard it directly or somebody told about it and you heard it then, you're still chayv to tear. When Eidim come to Bezdin to give testimony about somebody who was Makal Hashem, they don't have to tear Kriya again because they tore Kriya when the Eidim first heard it. Who cares that they heard it then? They heard it again now. The people that already tore Kriya didn't have to do it again. Only Chizkiah had to do it again. The fact that you don't have to sew it back up. How do we know that? Asya Kriya. We learned it from Elisha. And Elisha had a Kriya and it said, Vayikra'im l'shnayim la'olam. You have to leave it torn. So they learned a hekesh to there.
Do we when people come to Besdin and they say that this man cursed God, do they have to repeat over what's halacha? Do they have to say b'shem what they heard?
Yes,
or they just say,
and everyone tears Kriya.
oh, that's what happens. That's what Pascal, yeah.
You can't put them to death unless they hear what they said.
So, and now what about the Sefer Torah falls? Only those people that are in the room.
We're not talking about fall. It said Nisraf. Sefer Torah burned. Then you tear Kriya.
Everybody, even if you heard it, should be not. You don't have to see it. What that would be.
I don't have the halachas of Sefer Torah to know whether. I think you have to be present and see it.
I see.
But we'd have to look in the Rambam on that. There's no halacha quoted here. Oh, here. Haroya Sefer Torah o Tfilin shenisraf or nichrak or nichrab koireh shtei kriyas. You have to tear kriya. So you have to see it. You have to see it. Sefer Torah shenisraf minola d'chsiv vayi kikro Yehudi sholosh daltois the arba yikra'eh betar hasoifer. When he read 3 doors and 4, we don't know what that means yet. He tore kriya betar with a blade.
Yeah, Ernie, your keeper come off? Mari and I both noticed.
Thank you, Harold. 1 second.
Okay.
Harold, that's what
Yes.
happened. You're a Kohen, you're looking at all the Negoim.
And Mario noticed too, not just me.
I don't know, you can see somebody the back of their head. It's a pretty good idea.
There's a mirror behind him.
Mr. Geist at Talmud Kuchen.
Learned that trick from the casinos.
Okay, so
You can see everyone's hand. Oh, it's back.
I was lying down,
Oh,
resting a little bit before the shear,
oh,
and I guess my yarmulke had fallen off there.
no problem.
My shalosh loisos va'arba. What does this mean? Amrulei leHoyakim. Hoyakim was the melech. At the time of Yirmiyah Navi, when Yirmiyah Navi was prophesizing about the Churban of Yerushalayim. So they told him, "Kos of Yirmiyah Sefer Kinos." You know, Yirmiyah has written a prophetic book, Sefer Eicha. Orelu Mike Sivbe. So the Melech Yoyakim asked, what's written there? So it says, Eicha Yashva Vadad, how the city is dwelling alone. Amrlahu, well, Ana Malka, but I'm still the king. Amrle Bachotiv Kebalayla, they're going to cry at night. Amrlahu, Ana Malka. Galsa Yehuda Meoni, Judea is going to be exiled. Ana Malka, yeah, but I'm still the king. Darchet Sion Avelos, the roadways of Zion will be full of mourners. So he said, yeah, but Ana Malka. But then it says, Hayut Sarel Rosh. That means the king is going to be stripped of his kingship. Armelu Manamra. So obviously, who wrote this? So they quoted the pasuk, Ki Hashem Gal Rav Pshaya. This is the name of Hashem. Miyad Kadar Kol Azkar Shabo Srofen Beish. Immediately, Yoyakam commanded that all the shame of Hashem's in Sefer Eicha be cut out, and they burnt them. And they weren't fearful, and they didn't tear Kriya. From the pasuk, it implies that because of the sreifa of the name of Hashem, they should have torn Kriya. Maybe they're torn Kriya because of the bad news that the Sefer Eicha talks about. But there wasn't bad news then. It's future. If it hadn't happened, it's not considered Shmuas Rose. If you see a Sefer Torah torn, you have to tear two kriyas. Echad al agvil ve'echad al aksav. One kriya is for the parchment, and the other kriya is for the fact that the letters were torn. Shenemar achrei srofa melech asam megillah v'sadvorim. Because the Yoyakim HaMelech, he tore the Megillah, the parchment, and the letters. Rabbi Abba Ravuna Bar Chiyavu Yasvi Kamed Rav Abba. These Amirim were sitting in front of Rav Abba. Boy left Nuya. They wanted to go to the bathroom. Shakla the Totefta. So you can't go to the bathroom wearing your tefillin. They took off his tefillin. Achte Abe Sadia. And they put it on the mattress or the sofa, whatever was there. Asya Basni Masa Boila Mivle, and I guess an ostrich, some big bird, came and wanted to swallow the tefillin. Omar, Hashtay Chayvin Lishtei Kriyas. If he would have eaten the tefillin, we would have to tear two kriyas. Omer Leimi Nalacha, where do you know this from? It was a case that happened to me. And he didn't know the halacha. Also, it's only the Sefer Torah has to be torn, either by accident or but not like a bird swallowing it. If you see the Judean cities in their destruction, you have to tear Kriya. people came from Yudav Shomron, or from Shomron. Shmoni mish megulachei zakan. They had grown their beards. Ukrib gadim and torn their clothes. Umizgadim uminchal avon b'yom lavi beis Hashem. So on their way to Yerushalayim, they must have torn kriya when they saw the Ora Yehuda b'churbanon. Amar Rav Chelba Amar Ula b'Yiro Amar Rav Elazar. Haroya Ora Yehuda b'churbanon Oimer Arei Kotshecha Hayub Midbar v'Korea. If you see Yerushalayim b'churbanon Oimer Tzion Midbar Hayta Yerushalayim Shmama v'Korea, and you tear kriya. Beit HaMikdash b'churbanon. If you see the Koisel Oimer Beis Kotshenu v'Tifartenu Asher Hilalucha V'Oseinu Hayal Esrei Faseish V'Chol Machmadenu Hayal Charba V'Korea, and you tear kriya. First time I went to Israel, 1975. I was 19 years old. I went with Moshe Grun, Alav Shalom. He had never been to Israel either, and we went on a charter flight that we got from UCLA. Harold, you remember? ASUCLA had charter flights.
Yeah.
It was $400 round trip from LA to Israel. And they packed you in, about 500 students in.
Like a bus.
It was Swiss Air, something like that. We landed in Zurich, and then we spent 6 weeks in Israel touring around. I was told that we had arrived Friday right before Shabbos. I was told, try to go to the Kotel on Shabbos, because then you don't have to tear kriya. If the first time that you see the Kotel is on Shabbos, there's no chiyuv kriya. So I had a beautiful white shirt, Tilboshet from Bnei Akiva, and I was davening to Kotel, and a bird made on it. Not exaggerating. I had green
Oh my
all over
God.
my shirt.
Oh my God.
You know what? I walked home through the streets of Yerushalayim with such pride. I was so proud that I'd been to the Koisel, and this is like a bird from the Koisel. I'll never forget that.
By the way, Ernie,
Yes.
that's where your good muzzle comes from. It says if there's a Messiah like that.
Yeah, if a bird poops on you.
Yeah,
Okay.
you didn't even know
I
that.
heard that too.
If I was you, I wouldn't have thrown away that shirt. I would wear it all the time.
Tell it to Walter.
It's matter for the dry cleaners.
Then it says, Korea al Migdash umoisif al Yerushalayim. That if you had already torn kriya for seeing the Beis HaMikdash, you tear again when you see Yerushalayim. Reminu. There's a stira. Echad ha-shomea, echad ha-roya, kiven shegil at-soifim. Once you reach Har at-soifim, Korea. The Korea al Migdash b'fnei atzma, v'al Yerushalayim b'fnei atzma. So here it seems that you tear kriya first on Yerushalayim, then on the Migdash. Loi kasha, depends. Had the paga b'migdash bereisha. So you may be helicoptered or parachuted into the Har HaBayis first, and if you somehow came to the Beis HaMikdash first, then you tear kriya. Had the paga b'Yerushalayim bereisha, and then if you meet Yerushalayim later on, you have to tear again. Ton Rabban v'chulan rashayin l'shoylulon.
Yeah, but we don't hold on Yerushalayim. It's not halacha though. We hold
Right.
on the
I'm gonna
Har
read-
HaBayis.
I will read you very interesting halacha from the Shulchan Aruch. Haroya al Harei Yehuda b'churbanon.
Yeah.
Vafilu yoshvein behen Yehudim. Im ein tachat memshala zara. If they're under the government, foreign government, hareinei nechshavos kecharevos. They're considered as if they're destroyed. Kivan shigia karav lahen. And therefore, once you get close, the Ramah says, Oimer, harei kotchecha yu midbar v'korea. But then, k'mishkar v'Yerushalayim, bigil at soifim, you get to Har Soifim. L'maisa kiven shamakam banui saviv ein kormat shegiv yirchoimoy sa'ir atika, says the halacha, that when the Yerushalayim was built up a little bit, only when you saw the walls, the Turkish walls that were around the old city, did they tear kriya. Oimer, That's called Yerushalayim. Sion Midbar Haisa Yerushalayim Shema Bal Korea. The Achar Kach Kisharoyas Beis Hamikdash Oimer Beis Kodshein v'Koreshenis. The Chol Kriya Me'ela Tefach L'Pachol. V'Ba Mitzad Mizrach V'Ramik. If you came from the east, from Har Harazeisim, right? If you came that way, V'Ramikdash B'Chorban Tchila Korel Hamikdash U'Moitz B'Korel Yerushalayim. The Kol Shalei Rosh Hashem Yom Chazer V'Korel. Now, there's a huge halachic debate. I think we touched on it when we learned the Tzurba. We went through Yom Ha'atzmaut. I think we discussed this, that since it doesn't fulfill this notion of a foreign government, because we don't have a foreign government anymore, that the tearing Kriya on Arei Yudah is less so. The minig, though, is still to tear Kriya on the Koisel. Because that's
by the way, my friend, Rabbi Brown always used to quote the Rambam, what he said, that Ein Ben Yemot HaMashiach in the Zman is basically Shibud Melchus Bilvad. That basically the only difference will be in the time of Mashiach, that basically you will not be under any foreign government. And therefore that's the beginning of the Atchalta de Gula, because we're not under foreign government anymore, we run our own country. Or maybe we don't, I don't know. But
right. The strict halachas say we are still very dependent on the UN and the United States and all of that. So it's like a gray area. It's really like that. It's
not. I would. Yeah, okay. Not
because
sure.
yes, we have our own certain halachas. We have our own government, but they can't necessarily do everything they want without consultation first. So
I'm not sure, but okay, fine.
These kriyas you can sew up. So it looks like a ladder. You can't sew them up with fine tailoring. For example, Alexandrian sewing. If you tear from the shlal where it previously had been torn and someone had repaired it, or mitoch hamlal, like the hems of the garment, mitoch haleket, mitoch hasulamos, where there's big sewing areas that have sewn up, torn, lo yotza. You shouldn't tear kriya from that area. However, if there's been fine repair of a kriya, mitoch ha'ichui, and you tear there, yotza. Aruch Chizda, u'the ichui Alexandri. It's got to be a special tailoring. You can turn your garment upside down so that the tear is below, and then that can be repaired. He still prohibits even if you do that. Just like a seller of a garment cannot, if he somehow bought it secondhand, he's not allowed to repair it. Just because it changes hands doesn't remove the isser of repair. So the buyer can't do it. Therefore, the seller of a garment has to inform the buyer that this is a garment that was torn, al savelis, and therefore forever you can't repair it. I guess it was a buyer that would buy secondhand clothing, and one of the clothing had a tear in it from kriya. The beginning kriya should be at least a tefach. And then if you're going to add to it for other mesim, toisefa sholosh etzbos divremir, 3 fingers. Rabbi Yomi tchilas kriya sholosh etzbos, for toisefa kolshu. The initial kriya 3 fingers, and then if you're going to add just a kolshu. Amru Allah Rabbi Meir b'kriya, Allah Rabbi Yudah b'toisefas. Tainamahachi Rabbi Yosi Yomi tchilas kriya tefach, for toisefas kolshu. So the halacha is like Rab Meir that the initial kriya has to be a tefach. The halacha is like Rab Yehuda that the Tosefes kriya is just kolshu, any amount. Ton Rabbanan. Armelo Meisavi, person was told his father passed away, the Kara, then he tore kriya. Then the person, the Shtagadak, was told Meis Beno, Vahosif, then he had to add a kriya. So Tachton Misacha, the part that was torn for the son can be repaired. El Yonena Misacha. Now, Meis B'nova Kara, Meis Aviv Hosif, if the initial Kriya was for the son, and then the father died and you had to add, so again, it's weird. The top Kriya, which was for the son, could be repaired. And then there's going to be a space with a Kriya for the father, which is Tachton, and Imsach, cannot be repaired. Meisaviv, Meisimo, Meisachiv, Meisachoisoi. One after another, father, mother, brother, sister. Koirea kera echad lekulan. Tanakama says one Kriya for everybody. Rabbi Yudik ben Beseir Oimer, al kulan kera echad, ve'alavivim al kera echad. Two Kriyas. One Kriya for the brother and the sister, and another Kriya for the father and the mother. But you don't add on a Kriya for a father and mother. My time. There's only one parent. You can have multiple brothers and sisters, etc., but only one parent. So first of all, the Shir Kriya, it's a tefach. If it's within this week. And then if it's after the week, you add a mashu to it. So Amar Shmuel Allah Rav Zim Beseira. Freik the Gemara me Amar Shmuel Hachi Amar Shmuel Allah Kedivra Mekel Be'evil, and this is a chumrah. So that's avelis lechud. Kriya has a din lechud. So adhechan koireya. How far does the tear have to go? Ad tiburo, to his belly button. Yeshomim ad libo, no, only to your heart.
Let me ask you.
If you tear for a mace, and then you're only going to get down to the heart or the belly button if you have hoisafa kriya. So if you tore kriya for one, and then you have to add to that. So ad shiagia until the belly button, and then you don't add any more.
If you tear for a garment for a father and mother, you're destroying the garment completely. So by then the son and the daughter, what are you adding on? What kind of loss is there? There's not showing any kind of loss there because the garment is worthless anyhow. So the whole purpose of taking the kriya is that you lose something, and you're not really losing anything, because once you tear for a father and mother, the garment is not repairable anymore. Nobody's going to wear it anymore like that. So maybe he should wear it.
The din was if you tore for the parent, you could add. You tore extra. You made an extra kriya left, and then you could repair that.
No, but you can't repair for the father and mother.
Okay, but you all you need to you can be korea the same baguette over and over and over again.
But the whole person of Korea. So you feel the loss of a garment. You feel
I don't
the loss.
know. I don't know if there's a purpose. I don't know that's because you have to feel the loss. I don't know. You said that. There's a din kriya because it symbolizes avelis. It's a symbol of avelis. I'm not sure it has to do. We have this concept. Oh, get a garment that you're not going to use anymore. It's not shot like that. They wore the regular garment. They heard about it. They taught kriya.
So
it's a symbol of loss. It's a symbol of loss.
Okay.
And by adding to it, it adds to the loss. Okay. I hear what you're trying to say, but it's not what these.
Ernie, there's a halacha. It says halachot of mourning of the. It says the following: Avalet lechud kriyat lechud. Some say that this is because rending the garment is a Torah law as derived from the verse concerning the sons of Aaron, while the halachot of mourning are rabbinical origin. The Rambam writes that the mitzvah of rending is not itself a Torah law, rather it is a rabbinic law supporting verses from the Torah. The Nemukah Yosef writes simply that these two practices do not fall in the same category. Rending is performed before the mourning actually begins, and therefore Shmuel's principle that the halacha is ruled in accordance with the opinion of the element of the sage with regard to mourning does not apply to it.
Yeah, there he's commenting on that statement of halacha kedivra mekel beis. So he's avelis l'chud, kriya l'chud. They tried to
but you see that rending the garment is not laza. You say it's because you want to suffer. There's no. It's
exempt. The Torah says vayikraim. I don't. The svara behind it is not
Yeah.
is not an issue. Weiter. Now, where's the source? So there's a source that the Kriya has to go to your heart. Then tibura. Once you, what happens if you get down to the navel? So marchik sholosh etzbos, you move 3 finger breadths away and you start a new Kriya. And then you end up with multiple Kriyas on the front of the garment. If it's full with Kriya, you turn it up, you turn it backwards. So you have the back of the shirt now in the front, and you can tear there. If the top of the garment is torn, you can wear it upside down. But you can't tear Kriya from the bottom of the garment or from the sides. Kohen Gadol, if he's going to do frima of his garment, he does that from below, by his avelis. They made a special simon by the Kohen Gadol. You tear a mamish a full kriya during Shiva, but la'achar Shiva, if you only find out after Shiva, moisif. You don't tear a big kriya, you only add on the initial kriya. No, anytime within the 30, you can do kriya la'achar shloshim moisif, and then if you find it afterwards, you add. Maski Rav Zeir, mandam kol shiva kriya mai lo nitin l'shololo, because you're not allowed to repair it. El adam amar isha shalato la'alter. We said a woman can repair it right away. Achanami. What says you can't learn from there. Hasamishum kvot ishu. He said there, it's not a covet for a woman to walk around with a torn garment. So there's a special din by her. Mandam kol shloshim kriya amai. Why? Because you're not allowed to repair it. El lo aviv li'imo. Again, it's only a special din there that you can't prepare it because of special covenant for the parent. Let's say you know that there's a mace going to be there. You know that you have a torn garment, and you walk out with a torn garment. You're cheating the mason that they're not getting a kriya. And the people are around think you tore kriya, even though you didn't. Person says to his friend, loan me a garment. You know what? I'm going to visit my father who's sick. Well, the guy who loans the garment must realize that the father could die. So, he tears it, repairs it. You give him back the sewn up garment, but it's not as worth as much before it was torn. You have to give him the difference. Now, in law diu, if we just said loan me a garment, he didn't say why. Hareza lo yigabo. So he's not allowed to tear. He's not allowed to tear kriya from that garment. He's not allowed to tear kriya for that garment if that's.
Yeah, but we learned before that that garment is never is saleable to anybody. Nobody can repair the garment. So he gives back his friend. Was he giving back to him? Is it considered a
maid? To repair it because it's not his garment. He borrowed it, so it's not his. So there you're allowed to repair it with a perfect repair. It's still, even though it's a repair, even though it's perfect, it's not the same as a new garment. So you have to pay him the value of the difference.
But what about but the garment? Let's say if a man's garment, he's tore it up because of his father. That garment is never.
That's his own garment.
But even third hand, let's say what he sold it to one guy, the other guy sells it to another guy.
I understand, but this was not his garment. He borrowed this garment, so it's not his. He's a shoyel. He has a chiyuv to return it. So the din is he can return it. He can repair it and return it. You're correct. A person's own garment that he tears kriya for his father, he may never repair. And in fact, if he borrowed his friend's garment but didn't inform him that he was visiting his sick parent, and the parent died while he was wearing that garment, he's not allowed to tear kriya with that garment. It's not his garment.
It's a good way not to have to take kriya. It's a raya, Elaza, it's a raya for you. The tearing the garment is really a completely different halacha. Nothing to do with the loss or anything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ton Rabbanon, choyle shemeis lo meis, a sick person, and a relative died. Ein moedino so shemeis. You don't tell a sick person about a death. Shematitarv died to Allah, because he'll get sicker. And therefore, in Mekayim b'fun, if you don't tear kriya in front of them. Umishaskin sanoshim, the women that are wailing, we quiet them down. Then it's an interesting thing. Mekarim lekotan mipnei agmas nefesh. Meikar adin, there's no avelus by ketanim. There's no chinuch. There's no chinuch. There's no mitzvahs chinuch by avelus. However, you tear kriya to the cotton, it makes the people, the onlookers, more feel
Sympathetic.
feel more pain. And I only found these dinim later in life, because I kept virtually all the dinim of avelus. I was 11 years old when my father passed away. Of course, they tore kriya, and we sat shiva, and of course, I didn't grow a beard. I was 11 years old, but I said Kaddish for a whole year. And you want to know that the din is, it's not required. It's not required al din chinuch. But here's the Gemara that says you do tear the garment of a cotton because it increases the agmas nefesh. And another din, you tear kriya for a father-in-law and a mother-in-law because of the covet of his wife. However, v'yameinu lo nohagu kein, says the Ramah. That's not our min. I've never seen somebody tear kriya for an in-law, because we follow the Ramah that says we don't do it. V'yameinu.
He brings that down tzalocha, yeah.
Huh?
He brings it down at tzalocha. More or less, he brings it down from the halacha.
Yameinu lo nohagu kein.
Ken, yeah, that's what he says.
It's in Yoredei Shin Mem Halacha Daled.
Yeah.
Wild. Amrav Papa Tana ba'avel rabas avalo yanech tinek b'socheko neshemevil l'dei scho. You shouldn't give an avel, a little baby, to play with in his lap. Makes him happy. If people see that he's happy, that during his avelus, it's not a nice thing. When guests would arrive to be menachem in the Beis HaOvel, they would eat a suda. If this was someone that was very close friend, then they would have this meal on the overturned beds. He would be treated like one of the Avelim because he was close with them. However, Im Lav Yavru al Mitos Zakufos, he's not a best friend of the person. So this he should sit on a regular table. Rav Yisrael ben Milsa, Rav became a novel. Allah gave Abba Bar Marta do Abba Bar Manyumi. So Abba Bar Marta came to Menachem. Rav Zakiv. Rava turned the bed up to the normal way. He was treating him like a regular Avel, not like he was the best friend. Abba Bar Marta coffee. However, Abba Bar Marta turned the bed down. He thought he was a very close person. The Libo Gaspo. Omar, Rava said, Kamalas Beidaita, this Talmud Chacham has no sense. I clearly gave him a hint that he's not one of the inner sanctum, and he showed himself that he is. Okay.
Yes, you know,
Social-
in terms of comforting, what's the purpose of Menachem Oval? To comfort the person so he should feel better? What's the purpose of coming to be Menachem Oval people?
There's a lot of svaras that the person should take to heart that a person died, so she should do tshuva. It's a two-way street. Of course, it gives support to the Avelim, but it's valuable to the Menachemim as well.
So therefore, if a child comes, if a Ovel picks up a child, that is there's a certain amount of a nechama.
Yeah,
So
but it's going to make him laugh, and it's going to make him look too jolly, and that's Mizgana la Brios. The Brios who see the Ovel are not going to be happy with that. So in order to maintain the sobriety,
Okay.
they don't want you to do it. There's a lot of very interesting halachas, psychological halachas here.
Yeah, by the way, that knowing that if you're a close friend, you would never find somebody who would sit in the Aval seat or next to him. There's a seat next to him, a low seat. So you lechoira.
We don't do that. But you see, the Gemara said, Libo Gaspa, you could sit down with him like that.
You could sit down if you feel like you're really a close friend.
But I don't think that's the psak halacha today.
Not sure.
The Gemara said that, but
no one has seen that. I've never seen that.
yeah, I don't see the halacha here.
No, it doesn't say anything. I don't see any halacha.
We'll see tomorrow. We'll see tomorrow. First of all, Yameinu Einogim B'Kviyas Hamita. Kviyas Hamita was like a sofa, and then they turn it upside down.
No, I understand, but we don't noig b'kviyas hamita, but the noig b'kviyas hamita today is sitting in a low chair.
We don't see that guest sit in the low chair. We don't.
I know. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm saying l'choyer you would learn from kviyas hamita because you learn from kviyas hamita low chair. So if you learn from the kviyas hamita low chair, you could also.
Let's see. It may be brought in the next couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, go ahead.
Ernie.
Tomorrow, 7:30.